Now then, how are we doing? I'm back with... This is going to be a brief look because I don't really have much to say about this figure, but I thought the little that I do have to say, I might as well just throw in a short video and put it out there. So if anybody is thinking about picking this figure up or has it already and is wondering whether or not their opinions of it are shared by other people, then that's what this is for. And yeah, what I'm going to be taking a look at is the NECA clothed Batman from Tim Burton's 1989 Batman movie. So yeah, let's not delay, shall we, and let's get on with it.
What are you? I'm Batman.
Right then, I'm going to start where I always seem to start, and that's with the box. First impression of the box is that, yeah, I love this. The Batman emblem. We've got DC at the top there, and then Batman clothed action figure. I'll get to that in a moment, but yeah, so that's the front of the box, and then we've got like this Gotham cityscape there with the Batman iconography and NECA. Around the back we've got a picture of the figure in two different poses, and then just a bit of a blurb about Batman, and you know what it is. You've seen the movie, you know what it says, and then it just tells you what accessories come in the box. Around the opposite side, it's just the same as the previous. At the bottom, we've got all the legalese and who designed, etc., things like that. And then on the top, we've then just got the Batman text, ages 14 and up, and then warning choker. So yeah, it's just it's a pretty much box standard box, really. Right. Thing that I did want to mention was, and this is. I suppose you file this under regional variation, I think. When preparing for this, and when I was waiting for my figure to come, I watched a few reviews, and the majority of reviews that I saw were all US based. And what I noted was the box was not very different, but different enough for me to make a comment about it. And that was, in America, they don't have the flap. This flappage is non-existent. What they have is, it is a slipcase that goes over it. Now the slipcase is all black, aside from the front, and the front just has this Batman logo on. There's no DC, there's no text there, it's just Batman logo, black, and the slipcase goes all the way around. And then when you pull the slipcase off, it reveals inside. You have to excuse, I've taken everything out because I want to talk about it and I don't want to have to be pulling it out while I'm on camera. It has basically the tray with the figure in, and this, it doesn't have this. This isn't here. Yeah, I know, I realise now I forgot to show you this when I was showing you around the box, so I'll just briefly mention it there. There we've got a full frontal of the Batman figure that we get in the box. So yeah, anyway, so the US version, that's what you get. But here in the UK, we get this with the flap and the Velcro thingy there. And I'll be honest with you, I was a little bit disappointed because I really liked the slipcase affair. That looked really, really nice. So I decided to look into this because I wasn't sure why. Anyway, what I found out was, so for the US, they have this. It's kind of like what they call a big box retail design. So when it goes out to places like Walmart, you know, these big stores, apparently they favour slipcases because it prevents. I'm speaking rather posh there. It prevents tampering, you know, like, you know, bits being stolen or, you know, things like that, or crushing. So apparently that's why they prefer the slipcase. That's why they get it. Over here in the UK and EU. Apparently, it's because specialty comic and toy shops distribute them, they prefer the flap style, and so adults can easily preview the face paint and fabric and basically the details of the figure, and that's it. That's essentially the reason. It's quite mundane, really. I'll be honest with you, if I get the opportunity to pick up one that is in the slipcase, I think I will, because I just prefer it to this. Not that I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with this. It's just a personal preference. Okay, right. We'll carry on with the packaging. So that's essentially the box. When you open the box, you'll get a tray like this with the figurine and the accessories to either side there, and then that is also in this rather nice insert, which is of the Batcave computer. And it's nice. I like that. It's nice if you want to pop it up and display your figure in front of it, or just take some photos with it. We've got the details. Oh no, he's been using brand X. We've got the Action News, and then we've got the Joker face there. So yeah, looks really nice. It's on nice thick cardboard. It's not going to be bending or creasing anytime soon, but it may need weighting down or something at the back to prop it up, because it does have a tendency to fall backwards. But yeah, that's that. So I think I will leave that for the packaging, and I think we shall move on to the figure itself. So if I bring a Batman in and pop him there, and I will say straight off the bat, is this just a modern, overpriced Vigo figure? That's a question I was asking myself. It's a question that I looked online and I thought, maybe there's others of the same opinion. But for me personally, I'm going to say no. I don't think it's a fair comparison. The reason being is that Mego, or Mego, however you want to pronounce it, they tend to be about retro nostalgia. There's a simplicity to them as well, and NECA really going for the detail, hyper detail, and it's all about the modern collector as well. So I think that's where I think that analogy kind of falls down. What you've also got as well is you've got more premium materials that are used in the NECA figures. I keep pausing because I have made notes. Here they are. I've got them here in my hand because I wanted to be strict with this and be concise, straight to the point, and I didn't want to start meandering off and wandering off and it taking more time than it needs to do, because while I do have a few bits to say about this figure, I don't really have a lot to say about it. So I'm going to move on now to the design, the material breakdown and things like that. So we've got fabric in the suit underneath here. I'm just knocking there. So, we've got like a fabric suit here, which kind of cuts off at just below the elbow there, and just below the knee there, where it goes into the boots and the gauntlets. We have this fabric cape, which is nice. I'm not criticising it. It's got like a felt, velvety kind of inner to it. It does have a wire in it, but the wire isn't that strong. It is quite thin and feels a little bit flimsy, and it feels like with too much use the wire could snap. So, just something to bear in mind. We have this rubberized it's like a hard rubberized chest piece. The belt is attached to it and it fixes around the back, so you can actually untab it at the back. You can remove the head in this cowl and you can take it off and you can remove the cape. Well, I'll be honest with you, yes, I did. When I got mine, I did take it all apart because I didn't like the way that this chest armour was on the figure. It was kind of like all bloated out. So I took it off, I warmed it up, I kind of put a band around it to keep it tight. I then also as well had to detach the belt from the chest armour because it was glued on at an angle, so it was like slanted. So I took that off and re-glued it straight. And same with the cowl. When the head and cowl sculpt, I took that off because the bat symbol here was like sticking really out, almost like horizontally. So I took that off, warmed it up, and kept it pulled down, so now it hugs towards the figure a bit more. So that was just on mine. I'm not saying all of them are going to be like that, but just on mine, that's what I found. So now when I put it all back together again, it was all a lot tighter, and it just fit and looked. The form was a lot better. Like I say, the cowl is a very nice sculpt. I'll just bring it a bit closer and keep it in zoom, hopefully. And it's a decent likeness of Michael Keaton. It's not. You look at it and you think, yeah, it's Michael Keaton. I mean, you could. I would say you could even just have that lower face portion on its own and think, yeah, that's Keaton's mouth. But I think with it being in this particular cowl, the cowl does a lot of heavy lifting for it as well, and makes you realise that yes, that's who it's supposed to be. And it is all one section. Although the mouthpiece, when you take the cowl off and you look underneath it, the mouthpiece looks like it's a separate piece that glues in, along with the eyes as well. I'll just rotate it around to the back. We have this funny little moulding here in the back of the cowl. Now, I have been assured that the actual prop used for the film did have this in, but when they came to film, it was covered up so you didn't see it. I'm not sure how I feel about that. I think personally I would have preferred to have seen it being all smooth. I would have preferred not to have this, but I know that there are some collectors out there that do appreciate prop accurate looking items on their figures, so for them that's fantastic. Just turn it back around the other way. The other thing I will mention as well about the cape is that I think I would have liked to have seen wire in. Oh, you can't see, I'm not lifting it up, am I? I would have liked to have seen wire in the semicircular cutout bits as well, so you could get more dynamic posing with it as well. But other than that, I think that's really all I want to say about that. It's the materials are good. I just think that what can I say? Maybe I'll come to that. Maybe I'll come to that a bit later on. Okay, articulation. Right. Okay. You need to manage your expectations with this. It's not a highly articulated action figure. Restrictions you've got is this upper chest armor really severely restricts the ab crunch and the twist. The twist on the waist. The solid cowl here, you can move it from side to side very slightly, and a little tilt and a little tilt forward, a little tilt back, but again, nothing major. But it does mean that it is kind of accurate to the actual costume and how he, behaves in the movie, where when he needed to look, he would actually have to turn his whole body. And then the fabric of the kind of like the onesie or the inner suit, if you will, it's a bit uneven because the stitching bunches up, so it makes him look like he's got like swollen thighs. And also when you bend, so if you bend here, it creases in the joints. So I would say that if you're going to be messing about with it constantly and keep trying to pose it and move it about, I can see after a while the material failing and either splitting, cracking, or just downright tearing. One thing I will give you a bit of a safety warning as well. Bear in mind, it is NECA, so you will probably encounter, like I said, the tight fabric, tight joints, and maybe a risk of joints snapping. If you do force them too much, you can take the inner suit off, but you would need to boil and pop. My assumption is the boots and the gauntlets with the gloves on, because they don't twist and rotate there. So again, that's just something to bear in mind if you ever did want to do that. Okay, where are we next? Accessories. Right, okay, bring the accessories in. I've got these just to one side here. So we've got a batarang. And there we go. I should have brought my tweezers out for this one, shouldn't I? But no, not to worry. Batarang. It's really nice. It's a hard plastic, so there's no flex to it. and the points are quite sharp actually on there, and it is sculpted really nice. It's got all the sculpting on that the one in the movie would have had. So yeah, I do like that. That is nice. What else we got? We've got the spear gun as well, or the grapple gun if you will. And again, that's moulded really nicely. It's got all the detail on. It's painted nicely. Again, bear in mind it is quite hard plastic. There's no flex in it, so these little spines here on the grapple could easily break off. It doesn't split in two like on the movie. It is all just moulded one piece. But again, it is quite nice. And then we've got the interchangeable hands. So you've got this. I think this is your. This is your grappling gun hand, which again is nice because we've got we've got paint detail on the palms there, and then the other hand then is for holding your batarang, and that's it. You just get swap outs for the right hand. There's nothing for the left hand. The left hand would remain just a clenched fist. Utility belt. I don't think you can. No, you cannot hook. Nothing. The won't hook. This won't hook to the utility belt, so it can't be stored anywhere on it. Unfortunately, because there's nothing there for it to hook onto or to clip. So yeah. So no, you're shit out of luck with that one, I'm afraid. What else can I say about the accessories? That is nothing really. That's it. The accessories do complement the figure, and it's nice that they have been included. But I'm gonna get onto this now. Actually, there's no point me. Because like I said, these notes I had thought about giving it's like A to B to C kind of thing, but everything's just bleeding into one. That whole thing about the best laid plans of mice and men and that. The articulation, as I mentioned, isn't great, so when you use the accessories, you can't really get him into any dynamic poses using them. So it literally is going to be this kind of what I would say a museum style pose. So it's going to be very static, very rigid. So yeah, so that's really what you're gonna find. I will say as well, just be careful when you swap out the hands because the pegs, again, it's NECA. You don't want the pegs to break. Right, okay. I think I'm going to go on to me. I'm going to wind it up and give my verdict on it. So my best description really of this figure is that it is a detailed display piece with soft goods. That's probably it. And I think your best usage for this particular figure would be for kind of like a static museum style shelf posing. No dynamic action poses are really open to you on this one. And that leads me to then say, well, who's this for? Well, really, I think this one is for fans of the movie who are wanting a premium looking, textured action figure without paying, I would say, like Mezco or Hot Toy prices. Not that Hot Toys do 6-inch, well, this is 8-inch figures, but you know what I mean. It's like kind of like that shrunk down version. And I think really that's all I want to say about it. There's nothing really more. Am I glad that I got it? Yes, I'm glad that I got it because I've always wanted a 89 Batman figure, and I've held off. I think I was holding off because I think I always thought at one point I would probably pick up a Hot Toys version, but I don't think that's going to happen. So when NECA announced this coming out, I thought, yeah, we're going to go for that one, and I'm not disappointed because I know what I'm looking at and I know what my uses are going to be for it. But I have seen a lot of comments, reviews, and people mentioning that they are quite disappointed with it, and I think that's probably down to them not managing their expectations with this particular piece. I think also as well, it would be nice to see them do a Batman Returns version, so then that would sit in nicely with the Penguin and Catwoman that they've also done. And I think it would also be nice as well if we got a Jack Nicholson Joker to complement this one. I also accept the fact as well that from what I've been led to believe, Jack Nicholson doesn't like or approve his likeness rights, so a figure would have to have a slightly different face sculpt. But as long as it had the correct body shape and the right clothing, I don't think that would matter. It wouldn't bother me, to be fair. So yeah, that's it. That's my brief look at NECA Batman Clothed, 1989. That was the other thing regarding the accessories. Sorry, yes, it's just come to mind. The keen eye amongst you will notice that I'm using an Order of the Crimson Moon display stand for him, because quite frankly, without the display stand, he ain't standing up. That cape is going to drag him back and he's going to fall over. So it was a little bit disappointing that NECA didn't include a display stand. They missed a perfect opportunity to give us an oval display stand with the bat symbol on. That would have been fantastic, and it would have finished this piece off just nicely. So yeah, there we go. Right, that's it. No more now. I've done. If you're thinking about picking it up, I would advise it, but be aware of what you're getting. Don't buy it expecting a highly posable action figure. That's not what you're going to get. If you go into it and you buy it because you just want a static representation of Keaton's Batman on your shelf, then yeah, you could do far worse. I think also maybe down the line, it may benefit you to look and see if you could get a different cape for it. I think it's slightly thinner material with a bit more wiring in, and I think that would really, really finish it off lovely. So that's it. We're done. Back to me briefly, and then we're going to get out of here. And that's it. That's my look at NECA's Batman Clothed 1989 Keaton edition. So to recap, would I recommend it? Yes, but like I said earlier, manage your expectations. Don't go into it expecting to be getting a highly articulated action figure. That's not what you're getting. What you are getting is more of a museum display piece that has nice soft goods and is quite detailed, and a few accessories with some mild articulation. There is a more articulated body underneath all that, but because of the tight fitting suit and that moulded chest piece, you just can't access it. So don't try and force it, because like I say, you'll either break the internal joints or you'll end up tearing the one-piece suit that's underneath there. If you're going to use it, just get it into a particular pose that you think is a good approximation of something you've seen in the movie. Put it on the shelf and leave it, and just enjoy it, because it is nice. It is a good piece. I won't deny that, and I'm not going to try and badmouth it. I have mentioned the negatives of it, but I think the positives of it far outweigh those negatives. So yeah, that's it. I don't really want to say any more because there is no more to say, and if I do, I'll just be repeating myself. So, right, I've been Ed. This is the Vaults of Iacon. That's Batman Clothed, and this has been Not Only, but Also. Thanks for watching, and see you down the road somewhere.
Vaults of fucking Iacon.